Hello everyone and welcome to the Two Having to Roll podcast. My name is Oliver. In this show, Robin and I spoke with Kenny of Kenny Cosplay Stuff. Kenny is a cosplayer of over 10 years. He is a costume crafter for his cosplays. His craft and his cosplay skills have taken him around the world doing cosplay competitions. Kenny has also represented the UK at international competition level as well. He now runs a cosplay focused event called CosXpo, which is focused on getting people into the hobby of cosplay. It hosts workshops, meetups, photo shoot opportunities, and a cosplay competition. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you thumbs up and subscribe. If you are listening on your favorite audio podcast platform, leave us a nice review. That will help other people find us. And with that out of the way, let's get to the conversation with Kenny. We have actually done that, Kenny. We've literally sat down when we first started podcasting. When it was just me and Robin talking about I think it was like one of our LARP experiences, and we sat down, and what I had done is I had paused it on OBS to have a break, and I was like, all right, we'll go have a break, and I paused it, and I came back. I thought I clicked play again, and then we talked for another hour.
I was so angry.
And I was like, so do you know what? Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, what do we do? Do we come back and because it was like a break? Like, do we just do the recording another day? Because you get so frustrated that you've done that. Or do we just carry on? I think we just carried on. It was not that bad. We
carried on. We had a break. We got through it. We carried on.
I don't think you can notice that. I don't think if you listen to the podcast, I don't think you notice it. Because the thing that was funny though is that I'm pretty sure we talked about different things that we talked about the first time, even though we were retreading the same, topics, because we were like, where did we leave it off? Oh, I think we left it off here. Okay. And then we just went through it again. It was fine.
Fine.
So we may as well get started. Kenny, we know you from cosplay. You're our first cosplay guest, actually, because we've had.
Yeah, you are.
Exciting, yeah, because we had, we've done a fair few D&D guests and lots of LARP guests, because we're big into LARP, and every time we talk about LARP and why we're really into LARP now is we're always saying to everyone, we came via cosplay. That was our passion for the costumes, and then the role play in the costumes. That's kind of what led us in. So Kenny, how did you get started in the whole cosplay scene?
Well, I started off being cheap. That's exactly what it is. My friend said, "Oh, do you want to go to Comic-Con?" And my image of Comic-Con, kind of like everyone else who's not a nerd, was, the stuff from Big Bang Theory. You have to dress up. You have to know everything about, whatever franchise it is. It's always completely one themed: Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever else. And I'm like, yeah, I'll hit it up, whatever.
Yeah.
So I bought a hoodie and one of those cheap blades from eBay to go as Desmond Miles from Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that's a classic one. That's a classic basic. I'm pretty sure I've done that as well, actually. I'm pretty
Middle of May.
Yeah.
Sun blazing down. I was in the stick hoodie. I was like, I can't take this off because it's a part of the costume. Only 2 people recognized it, and I had a picture of them. The 2 other people that was in the queue. We were in this exact same hoodie with the exact same blade, casual as hell. So we all took a group photo. I'm like, yeah, I did too.
Cosplaying.
It was a good, because it was popular then as well. It was really, really popular. In fact, actually, what year was that? I'm assuming the year. What year was
2000 and probably 13.
Oh yeah. Oh. So
I can look through Google Photos and I'll send you a picture afterwards to put it on.
Yeah.
This.
Yes.
2013, dude. So you're coming up on you're on your 10th year of cosplay then, right?
Oh, something like that. I feel like the last few years not really done much.
Don't count,
to be honest. Yeah. But anyways, got there. I dressed up and I just saw all these costumes, and Iron Man was fairly new at the time. Well, not that new, but newish. People were dressed up as that, and I was like, oh, I want one of those. How much will it cost? So I went home, started typing on the internet, $3.5 grand, $6 grand for an Iron Man suit. Easy. And plus, back in those days, 3D printing was not accessible.
No.
So it was extra expensive. So $3 to $6 grand for a costume, $3,000 for something that's not sanded, and you have to do that. I'm like, I ain't doing that.
There was probably less demand as well because cosplay
Yes,
was
for
less
sure.
popular as well. There was
Yeah.
less kind of smaller creators doing lots of things like that, I imagine.
Yeah, and then I thought, well, someone else can make it out of puzzle mats. I got puzzle mats down at Halfords. I'll start buying puzzle mats from Halfords. Fantastic, because everyone was doing colored mats, and when the paint chipped, it looked terrible. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, these are cheaper, £2 or £3, but if I pay a tiny bit more, £10 for 5 pieces. In fact, I didn't do that. I went to, Trespass, the camping shop.
Yeah.
I
Outdoor
bought
shop.
the cheapest roll mats ever. The blue ones that are so uncomfortable.
Yeah, the ones you're supposed to be sleeping on, apparently.
Yeah. Bought that for £5 a roll. So I bought like 100 quid's worth of rolls, and they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah, for making costumes, not for sleeping on. And then every time the paint chipped off, it was blue, so it looked terrible. And then I discovered the Halfords floor mats. They were expensive as hell, but worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember
then-
that actually with floor mats. I remember people going, "Oh yeah, floor mats," before you had companies making like custom EVA foam for cosplayers, and everyone was like, "Oh, like a lot of the YouTubers, the like, American YouTubers, like floor mats," and I'm like £12 for like
a few,
a few, and I need a ton.
I've got to sand them for like an hour.
Yeah.
Well, another sidetrack. I did look into stocking foam, like kind of like Polyprops did before Polyprops even existed. But you had to buy 10,000 mats because they all stamp it with the pattern, and if you do it custom, you have to order in 10,000 mats. I'm like, nah, no thanks. I don't think I can raise enough money to distribute.
Yeah, and you need to make sure people keep buying it as well. 'cause,
Yeah, I know.
Something like that only takes. I mean, it's probably a good thing you didn't, because then I don't know, Polyprops might have like appeared, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're going over here now," and you're like, "What the am I going to do with all
Yeah, I
these
know.
mats?"
All this foam.
But yeah, everything's so much more accessible now. Materials are getting cheap because there's competition, etc.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But anyways, back to how I got started, and
Yeah.
I just started Googling
Yeah.
everything. Cut and glue. That's all I knew really. With a hot glue gun, it didn't cost much. A very, very blunt blade, because I didn't know you can even change a blade on one of those. What do you call it? Hobby knives. Well, it doesn't come with blades, so I have to buy a new knife. So I'm not buying a new knife.
And you're
So I
like,
just use this blunt thing and trying to saw my way through foam, and that was
Yeah,
that
we've all
was
been there.
the shit. Yeah.
we've all been there. Yeah, but it's quite an ambitious. Was it intentional? Like the ambition of like, I want to do the Iron Man thing, and yeah, I'll probably learn a lot more doing that way, or did you just have no idea and you're like, I could probably do that?
I was like, hey, it can't be that hard. I like Iron Man. I'm gonna be Iron Man. So, Iron Man. How do I make that? It can't be that hard. Other people's made it, so
Uh-huh.
it looked awful. It looked really bad.
I'm sure it looked great though. I'm sure it looked great. Was that in 2003? That was the same year as your Desmond one.
Yeah. I just literally went home and just went, oh, I'm obsessed. I'm gonna go look.
Yeah.
And then I went to the next Comic Con, which was October, obviously.
Yeah.
The big ones, anyways.
Yeah.
And then from there, I got addicted. Really.
Yeah.
It's more like an addiction than a hobby, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
And then
Takes over your entire life. Yeah, exactly.
well, yes, it did, because before I met Amy, my now fiance, I can say that now.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I took all of my holidays, my 25 days off from my day job a year. All of it was going to cons.
Yeah.
Every single one. I'd not had a holidays in the last 7 out of the 10 years I've been cosplaying.
Yeah.
And now I use my holidays for holidays. I can't go to cons. No surprise.
That's the thing. I mean, we got to the stage of that, but that's a lot of the time we would be like, should we go on a holiday? And I'm like, well, I'd prefer to like, do something. I'd prefer to be like, have something that I'm excited for and working towards.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Because I know you started doing competitive cosplay, and we'll definitely brush on that. But did you ever get a burnout with it? Like, especially if you started making.
I am burnt out all the time. The last half of the 10 years I've been doing it, it's burnt out. I've just sent a picture in the chat, by the way.
Ooh.
That was my first costume.
That's good. I like it.
But compared to,
I can read your face, Robin.
I mean, for a
I
first,
tried.
that was your first cosplay?
Yeah, compared to the second image that's coming through, I learned quite a lot from there.
Yeah.
I think my fourth attempt, but I think this was at SunnyCon was taken. So it's quite a lot has changed.
Yeah, I like how you've actually, because I know a lot of cosplayers have done that thing where they have taken a cosplay of a character that they really, really do love and want to improve on, and have made several versions throughout the years. And I think that really does show like how much you've sort of like learned over the years. And it's just like comparing the very first image of your first Iron Man with the last one, you're like, wow, that is incredible.
That's just changed. That's the fourth Iron Man suit. They're all technically the same, but completely different at the same time. Just different versions. Same techniques, really.
Oh, I've seen that photo.
So yeah. So did you like obviously over the years then you pick up other techniques, but then also like you say things become more accessible, like 3D printing and like certain materials and resin, and you're like this comes out, and you're like, if I knew that when I made the first Iron Man, then I would have done that. Is that one of the reasons for redoing it?
Definitely not.
No.
Because it's I wouldn't class it as redoing the same costume, because it's completely if you know Iron Man, you know they're completely different suits anyway. It's not the same suit over and over.
I get it,
different patterns, that kind of stuff. But every costume I do, I pick up new skills or try to experiment. Like the latest one, the one I sent you with the difference, the skill I learned from that is how to make it really shine compared to the previous one, because previously I spent a lot of money on plasti dip, because the cosplayers that were huge at the time were like Nigri and Kamui, like a plasti dip. I'm like, that's £15 a can, because we don't live in the US and wherever else. So I spent at least 300 on plasti dip. That was absolutely painful.
Yeah.
But going back on it now, to coat foam really to seal it cost me £7.
Yeah.
So
what do you use now to seal it?
X-Flex all day. I swear by that.
Yeah.
It's cheap. It's £7 for a gigantic bottle. That's enough to for this suit. They coated it 3.5 times.
Yeah.
Nice. I need 7 layers to make it really shine. So it was 2 bottles basically.
Yeah, and that stuff is already shiny, right? Well, I feel like it's
close enough.
It's like PVA based, isn't it? It's like it's that type of, when I use it, I'm like, oh, this is like PVA.
It smells like PVA, but it's definitely more flexible than PVA. And that, going back to PVA, you mentioned, it's not as bad as what people think. It doesn't crack as easily as people think. PVA does work, but it's more effort. But for £7, PVA's 2 for 7. You don't have to mix it right. You have to wait for it to dry.
Yeah.
It's colored.
Well,
it's 2023. Everyone loves colored things now.
Yeah.
Paint, people, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well, that's the thing with like, because I was always surprised that people ignored PVA, because everyone was like, oh yeah, wood glue and this, that, the other, and what was the other one? Gesso as well. That was another one everyone used to rave about. I don't know if they still do now.
Mod Pot.
Oh yeah, Mod Pot.
That's pretty.
What is it?
Pretty
is it
much.
We always used to say it wrong. Is it it's Mod Pot? Is it Pod?
Pod. Mod Pod.
Because I feel like
I'm gonna Google it.
Because wasn't there like?
Is it?
Because I'm pretty sure there was a YouTuber.
No, Robin's right. Yeah. Mod Podge.
There we go. But yeah, because I'm pretty sure there was. Was it like Evil Ted Smith or someone who was quite well?
Ted,
yeah. It was, I'm pretty sure it was him who was very like on that beginning wave of like real popularity, and I'm pretty sure he used to call it Mod Podge, and it became a bit of a thing. And everyone was just like, "I use Mod Podge," and then it got really confused. And I looked at the bottle one day, I was like, "It's Mod Podge."
Yeah, but that's different. In the UK, it's literally just wood glue as opposed to PVA glue. Apparently, there's a difference there. But yeah, either is fine. For my earlier costumes, even the Garen costume and the first Iron Man costume, they were all PVA. They never cracked. You just have to be more patient. I think the problem with people using PVA is they splatter it on and coat it really thick, and when it stick, not dry, then it starts cracking. But if you do really thin layers and brush it on and do 6 or 7 layers over a week or something once a day, it's fine. It doesn't. Just I guess different techniques of using the same thing makes a difference.
What's it like in the heat? Because I think
it's fine.
It's fine. That was the one thing about like, especially when most of the content creators that
Warbler.
they had Warbler, and a lot of them were like in the States as well, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I don't use this because like it melts in my car, and it's not really an issue we tend to have in the UK, it's...
No, there was this phase where people use Warbler for everything, and I just didn't see the appeal. Yes, some of Garen had Warbler. Those ones I definitely stayed put in a cool box inside a car, or not a cool box, but inside a box in a car, which doesn't heat up as much. But I had a friend back then who made a Master Chief costume out of Warbler. That melted on the back of the car. I was like, me with my Garen suit, like, hey, look at me, I'm still all right.
A Master Chief out of Warbler. I mean, that sound... I was just about to say, that sounds heavy as hell and very uncomfortable.
Well, that's the thing with Warbler as well. I mean, I made something just a couple of years ago for a photo shoot, and it was my D&D character, and I made basically a full like Warbler sort of like top section. I thought this would be great, and I drove 3 hours to go get this photo shoot done, and it was the hottest day of the year. Got out, and we were there, and it was awful, to the point where the entire Warbler had not only melted, but it reformed around me, to the point where it was such a snug fit. And then we'd cooled down, we'd gone like back to one of our houses, I had a few drinks and everything. I was like, right, I'm gonna get changed. And I was like, I'm stuck in this. Like, I'm trapped. This is not happening. We're gonna have to figure something out. We have to go to a hot room or something. And since then, I've just swept all the Warbler away. It's in a box somewhere, but I just no.
You didn't even buy that Warbler though, because that was the thing. Because Warbler used to be the thing, and they used to like, because I think we won it in a competition, didn't we? And it was just like, it was loads of it. And we were like, we're ever going to use this? And you're like, oh, I'll use it for my D&D character, But it looks uncomfortable all the time.
It does. There is a place for Warbler, like shin pads and what do you call it? The thing that rubs, things that rub in underarms, or just pads, etc.
Oh, right, okay.
If you coat it Warbler with a bit of leather on top of it, it looks much better than foam with leather. And bottom of shin pads, arm guards, that kind of stuff, where your wrist and your ankles rub all the time.
I found
they work great.
Yeah, I found it had a real good effect for like kind of natural looking stuff, like scales, and because a lot of people use it for armor, right? And I thought it used to look really good when people used to like do dragon scales and things like that with it, and it just, I don't know what it was. It must have just been like the texture that just made it look really good.
It was that thing that you did with it once. You got, because Oliver did a comedian cosplay, and he decided to make the mask out of black Warbler.
That's when I used Warbler. That's it. Yeah.
So he cut it all out. I went, great. How do I shape it? Well, my face is here. He heated it up and put it on his face.
It was fine.
It's just so it was great.
It was fine. Then... it was perfectly on me, And then all I did was get some, like, on the day, just got some double-sided tape and just stuck it. Stuck on my face.
I did something similar as well, but I think I thought about it. So instead of putting it directly onto my face, I had some clay that kind of shaped around the, how fat my face is, because I got really chubby cheeks, and then sculpted the clay mask, and then after the clay dried, put the Warbler on the clay mask that fitted to my face rather than directly on.
Yeah, see, now I actually have a head form, which I was going to use to like make face prosthetics and a beard and whatnot, but I've never got around to doing it.
Oh, how'd you get one of those? Did you make it?
Yeah. We went before we started recording. We mentioned Tom and Sorenzo. Yeah, we went to his one day, and I did the whole entombing myself in a head cast. And the thing is, I'm just like, no, I'm not a panicky person like that. I'm like, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I could do it.
It's not pleasant, because you can only obviously just breathe out your nose, and then you have to just wait and just sit there and just listen to the people, because like Robin and I think it was like Robin and Tom just completely covered me. So it's like you have all the stuff on, they just start putting layers and layers.
Yeah.
on you, and then because you can obviously still see a little bit light through your eyelids, and then it just gets darker and darker and darker, and then you obviously then you can't hear because so you're just hearing muffled voices, and all I hear is just like Tom saying to Robin like, "Oh yeah, careful when you put it in because his eyeballs are right there," and I'm like feeling the pressure, and I'm just like. And he's just like, and it was just like, okay, you kept tapping him on the shoulder, like, you okay? And it was just a thumbs up, like every time.
It was like halfway through or something, and he was like, "Did you remember to put cotton wool in that side of his ear?" And I was like, "I think I did. I think we did. Oh, well, we'll find out soon."
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Well, now you can do body scanning now, head scanning, even with your phone. That's absolutely
Wait, what?
mental. You just you can do it. Especially with the iPhone apps, it's better
Mm-hmm.
than the Android one so
Mhm.
far.
Mhm.
Scan your face, you can just print it. It tidies it up itself.
No shit.
Um,
So can you do that for like can you do it like without printing it? Can you do it for like sizing and things like that? For
yes. Well, your whole body's going to take a bit more tidying up to do, but
yeah,
head
yeah.
scans, people put dots on their face. It gives you loads of tutorial now on YouTube,
Really? Holy crap!
and it just does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
even at MCM, there was a body scanning that's like 70 quid to get your body scanned.
That ain't bad.
I-
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Well, I remember there being a thing, and people were going to get it done literally because like,
Yeah.
oh, you get it done once, and then you got the files that literally have all your dimensions. You
Yeah.
know, you don't even need to get it printed out. Obviously, you know.
I'm kind of gutted I didn't because I thought, hey, 70 quid's well expensive because I'm poor and cheap. I
Yeah.
wasn't going to pay it, but I regret not doing it, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, because then you've just got the digital file there, and you're like, yeah, I want to make a, you know, I want to make a gauntlet, even if it's just, I don't know, some lower leg armor or something like that, and then you've literally just got a little model there that you can go like, oh, there's the dimensions.
Well, like that
That's-
Jamie Lannister hand that you made, that like a big part of that was casting your hand to begin with and getting all that sorted out and stuff, before you could go ahead and make the actual hand itself. That took up most of the time for that.
Yeah, yeah. But was that an interesting side of cosplay for you, Kenny, doing like the problem solving part of it though?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my whole day job.
Yeah.
I problem solve. That's with my job with software and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I work in support. It's boring. I problem solve. Go home, problem solve. It's fun.
Hey,
if you want to do it.
Hey, people have to do it, otherwise we would just have problems, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Back to the problem solving side. Yeah, there are loads. People were mixing sealers with white spirits to water it down. Like, I ain't doing that in my house. And then you just keep trying and trying other ways, researching, and eventually you discover something that works for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
loads of stuff, yeah, it might be convenient, but do you have the money for it? People can rave about it on YouTube. Oh, you must buy Plasti Dip. I got sucked into that craze, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this realistic? Do I really need to spend £300 on Plasti Dip to cover it? I may as well buy a costume at that point.
Yeah, you're getting to that stage, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we were the same with plastic. I think I used it like a couple of times and then was like, nah, this isn't for me. It was messy and it was horrible, and I was like,
and it smelled.
Yeah, and it smelled, and it's just liquidized rubber, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went on. I know when we saw you at a convention. We'll talk about competitions a bit, but you mentioned that you went to a prop making course when you first started.
Yes, I did. I did.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was I think a couple of years after I first started. I thought, well, Artifacts offered a new thing. They make props all day, every day.
Yeah.
And it's expensive, but I don't know what I'm doing. I get a professional to help.
Yeah.
Or teach me something. And it was so valuable, that one.
Yeah.
They taught me skills I wouldn't use, obviously, because they have their way, but it opened up a world of, well, foam is not just 2D, because from that point, and before that point even, I've only ever used Pepakura. So find or create your own Pepakura files from games and whatever else, slice it, and then it's all 2D because paper is 2D, and then you have to, every angle you have to cut a new piece, stick it together, sand it, that kind of stuff. But you can think foam as 3D. You can bend foam, obviously you can shape it, but you can carve it or you can sculpt it even. If you layer 2 or 3 blocks together, it's harder to sculpt, but you can cut it and it becomes solid block. So, well, you say it when I say it out loud, that's really obvious. But to someone with absolutely no art skills or experience, that was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I took away was finishing, how the finishing is as important as building. Yeah, building's fun, problem solving's fun, but if you have a good build but a crap paint job, that also affects it.
Yeah, that was always my weakness.
Or it's the other way around. It's, crap build, good paint job covers all your mistakes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so finishing is still really freaking important. That was always my problem. I would be like, I would get a piece of photo, and I'm like, yeah, great, because I mean, I work with tools in my job. Basically, use my tools to I've got a sanding machine. I'm like, oh yeah, these people are using sanding sticks. I've got a belt sander, like that, and it look amazing. But did I know how to paint and finish? So I would like paint it up, and it would just be this fluffy piece of shit. And I'm like, oh, it looked really good when I primed it, and now it looks awful.
You mentioned tools. That's another huge thing I learned from Artifacts, because, well, belt sander, my God, I cannot live without it. As soon as I left that course, they gave me some practice on the swords that they made with us there. I just bought a belt sander. It was £100-something. Yeah, it's very expensive for someone who doesn't have money, but it was so worth it. I still use it, and I've not replaced it in the 7 years since I bought it. It's covered in crap.
Yeah, well, that's the good thing about if you're using it on foam. Like, foam doesn't wear down the belt, so you can be cheap as hell with it.
My God, I've only replaced the belt once because it snapped, because I was sanding something I shouldn't have sanded. But the smoother the belt, the less you replace it, the smoother the foam finishes. And people go, oh my God, you sanded that? I'm like, yeah, on a belt sander. Can't do it on a Dremel. Well, you can, but you are limited by your shakiness of your hands, really.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so convenient. Like, because I was using it to like make the shields and things like that for LARP, and I was like, it's so good to finish on a belt sander that I was like, even little bits that I really shouldn't have been using a belt sander to do. I was like, no, it's just so good. I'm just gonna I'm gonna do a handstand or something and try and get this edge on the shield.
That's the thing. Like I've done recently I made a little knives and things for LARP, and I thought, belt sand it because I want this nice clean blade on here, belt sander, nice and easy. And I think I'd done it on the belt sander. I was like, great. And there was a little bit, and I was like, I'll just get the Dremel. And yeah, like you just said, with the shaky hand, I went to do it, moved across, chucked it out there. I was like, that's it, off it goes. Let's do it again, and we're only using the belt sander. I will change the shape of this to make it work for the belt sander.
So back to the training course. Those are the skills I took away with it, but skills that didn't. They do a lot of LARPing, and I think that's where they started out, LARPing props, etc. So they use a lot of latex and dipping latex. I was like, oh, this smells absolutely horrible. No chance. Oh, I started using it, bought some latex. Yeah, it was expensive at the time. Again, it's not accessible. All that prep. Latex, you have to, watch for drips. When it dries, you can't sand it. So it was a lot of practice I had to do, and I thought, nah, this ain't for me. So again, you can learn things, but it just might not be for you. And for me, it's as cheap as possible and as quick as possible.
That's interesting that like Artifacts. I kind of heard that that's where they start, and that's why they used all the latex, because that's what I mean. Like the cosplay thing blew up, and everyone's like, oh yeah, go and get foam mats and go do this, and this is how you cover foam. And it's like, but the LARPing industry had been doing it for years. For years, they've been making foam weapons for years. But the big difference, and this is what we've learned, because we've come from the other way. So we were doing cosplay stuff, and now we have to make, if we're making LARP stuff, like it has to be functional for LARP. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'll just cover it in Warbler, and then you can't just go and hit someone with it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Kind of like breakdancing. Back in the days when someone did a backflip, people blew their mind. Like, people have done backflips for centuries. But cosplay is the same kind of logic. Everything is new and exciting. Movie industry been doing it for years. LARP's been doing it for years. Now people are starting to bring in, I don't know if you noticed that, just pre-pandemic years, people are starting to use servos and screens and those kind of stuff. And even just a light that's hooked on directly to a battery, a strip light, people blow their minds and go, oh my God, it lights up.
Yeah.
It's like it's a light and a battery, man. In
I
fact,
I don't know about you, but like we definitely found when we started. Oh, show us.
yeah, this right.
Show us.
This is just quite literally a strip light from eBay hooked up to a 9-volt battery with a switch on it. Oh my god, it lights up.
What's
Oh,
up?
oh. People's minds are blown by that, and I don't know why. There's no programming involved, nothing, no microcontroller. It's just plugged into a 9-volt. If it blows up, it blows up.
Yeah.
I don't even have any resistors in it, just 9-volt.
I don't know about you, but like we definitely
Fair enough.
found because we started cosplaying 2015, 16, somewhere like that. And then
our first time going to anything like that was actually 2013. That was our first sort of like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah, we had no
what
idea
is
what was
this
happening.
new world? And then it was 2015 that we actually started cosplaying.
Yeah. But we did notice that like the more we got into it, first it seemed to be like big phone builds. It was just like, oh, and that they were the shit, you know, and then everyone did big phone builds. And like you said, then someone would come in with like some vape machine, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And then the following convention, then following year, every costume had to have some sort of vape machine. Did you find that too, or was it just us?
Yeah, that just brings to the competitive cosplay side of things.
Yeah,
It is so difficult. People who don't enter don't get it.
No. So yeah, so that's what we kind
yeah.
of found. Like, so we'll talk about competitive cosplay because that's what to be honest, that's kind of what burnt us out. We love competition, but we got to the stage where we were like spending a lot of money, and especially where we were living before, we were spending a lot of money going to conventions and being like, we're not having, because we've been to once you've been to one convention, we were seeing the same vendors. We're like, no, the reason we're going now is to do the cosplay and the cosplay competitions. And we were stressing ourselves out about it. We got to the point where we're like, oh, we want to do this, and we're making plans, and we were like, are we actually enjoying this? And then the pandemic happened, and then we just kind of went, that's a good break time. But yeah, the thing that we did really find competitive wise, it was just like you ended up being like, oh well, I know that person is going to have LEDs in their costume, so should I do something with LEDs? And then you show up to the competition, and it's like a frickin', it's like the Blackpool Illuminations in the lineup, you know, because everyone's got lights on.
It's the checklist. It was the checklist of, okay, have I used leather work here? Yes. Have I used fabric? Yes. Have I used some foam? Have I used some warbler? Have I done this? I've done that. And I'm like, oh no, there's no electronics in it. Like I said, I need to tick that off. You know, they're going to ask me what I've learned while making this and preparing for these questions. And I was like, oh, prosthetics. But they'll love prosthetics. Let's learn prosthetics now.
No one's done that.
I'll do that. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it definitely taught everybody a lot. But yeah, like you said, it was like every single time we'd go to a convention, there would be that new thing. And I think that the one bit that actually completely destroyed our bank accounts was when all the leather work started coming in. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but at the time I was like, oh, we could do things with leather. It must be very similar to fabric, right?
Yeah, well, that was the thing when we started working with other materials. Do you find, Kelly, like, that there are like, you get these like because we definitely came across them when we started trying other mediums. There are like these foam purists or warbler purists that we started using leather, and they're like, why are you using leather? Just use foam. And I'm like, because I want to use leather.
Well, I'm working on the Mandalorian costume, and I looked at the same thing like, why the f am I using leather? I've got scrap foam here. It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, it really depends.
Yeah.
Are you going for accuracy, or is it something for yourself? If you want to use leather because you want to use leather and it would last the rest of your life and hand it down generation, fantastic. Use leather. Use that. Don't use foam, because all of my costume, I wouldn't say it's single use, but maybe wear it a dozen times, 12, and you either replace it or bin it or sell it on, whichever. It's not going to be as good as the first time. But if you want to have something that lasts, leather, warbler and those kind of stuff that don't really warp, and well, warbler warp, but if you store it in a cool dry place, it doesn't. But leather doesn't degrade as fast as everything else does.
Nah.
So it's up to you what you want to use. But if you ask me, yeah, foam can probably do it, but it's not going to last long.
Mhm.
It's going to last maybe 2 or 3 cons. It's either going to start chipping, bending, ripping, bin it. But for me, I don't really care because
So it's
of the rate I'm pumping up costumes, really.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it sounds more like the reason is because of practicality, not because you love foam. You
Oh
know.
no,
Yeah.
if it works, it ain't stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it kind of that kind of sort of asks what I was gonna answers what I was gonna ask you, because I was gonna ask like did you ever feel pressure when you're doing the competitions to be like, oh crap, these people aren't looking for foam builds anymore, I better learn how to do leather work because that's the in thing at
Oh,
competitions.
that's a really good question.
Yeah.
No, it's the opposite. I got pressure I felt pressure for having to maintain social media. Well, now I post once every blue moon. The
Yeah.
pressure was I didn't want to be that guy who wears one costume because it just bothers me. It might not bother other people, but it bothered me. I don't want to be that Iron Man guy because that's not who I am. So I thought, okay, I'll make another one, something else. Oh, it's been a month since I put out another poster or costume and whatever else. I need to put another one. But for competitions, I was like, I don't really care. It honestly depends what you care about. And for me, I made the costume and go, I'm going to this con. I may as well give myself something to do. I'll enter. Oh, it needs music. I'll just get some music. And then there are other events where you go, oh, if I win this, I might go to Portugal. I'll give it a shot. If I don't win, who the cares? I don't care. I don't lose out.
Yeah.
But I guess that's my mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
And then fill in, oh, okay, this competition needs to be crafted. Oh, I guess I qualify for that mark
Yeah.
scheme, and then I'll do it. But it's more fun and
Yeah.
opportunities that those experiences bring,
Yeah.
instead of having to put your mindset into I have to win competition because this is competition, I must get gold. Well, yeah, it's nice to be winning something, but
Mm-hmm.
you can only be as good as your current skills, and someone will always be better than you. Depressing, but true.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. It is.
Don't be that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to help you if your costume falls off. I'm gonna leave it on the floor and watch you and laugh. I'm like, don't be that.
No.
At ECG, I met some teams like that, some
Oh
really
really?
competitive teams,
Yeah.
and then I just spent my entire morning getting absolutely wasted to the point of the organizer saying, "Don't, please don't fall off the stage. This guy should probably stop drinking." And then I was, gluing other people's props, and I had the whole toolkit, so everyone was using it. We were helping each other. We've made some lifelong friends. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
guess,
Exactly.
that's what it should
Help
be
those other
about, right?
people, yeah,
yeah,
like they're all you're all feeling the stress, you're all feeling the pressure, just help each other out. The amount of friends, and I think we said that before about the competitions, that we love the competitions. One of my favorite parts was the friends that you met before going on the stage, all
yeah,
these
for
other
sure.
people, and especially when something goes wrong, it does tend to show you the really good people around you, because the amount of times that I've there was once at MCM and I was like at the back and somebody panicked because their costume literally burst open as they're about to go, and I was like, I've got a needle and thread, we can make this work. Like stitching this woman up just before she was going out onto the stage, and then with that we made a friend there, and they'll never forget that, and luckily they didn't end up naked on the stage. So it's all good.
Yeah, back to the box ticking exercise. Each competition is, well, I wouldn't say unique, but it's fairly different to the rest. Everyone thinks they're the best mark scheme ever. You just need to properly read the rules. If the rules are to say, there's 20% on different techniques you have used, yeah, tick all the boxes. But this comes to the judging side. The judges, depending on the event, most of them are just wing it themselves. Kind of
Yeah.
like, I've been a judge quite a few times. I just wing it. I have no prior knowledge to anything, but it really depends on the experience of judges. I work a lot with foam. Sometimes I tend to judge foam more harshly. So this is the opposite misconception that people who don't judge think, oh, this guy only does foam, therefore they're going to mark foam higher than fabric. No, it's they usually, well, this is a generalization really, they usually mark stuff that they don't know and which looks more impressive higher. Like a lot of dressmakers who only makes dresses and never made the armor, they go, oh my god, this is amazing, blah, blah, how did you do this? And then I look at it and go,
It's
well,
a blob of foam. Yeah.
this seam isn't touching. This is sanded not properly. No, they definitely haven't wet sanded
Yeah.
it.
You're like, I can see the texture of the foam of the mats under here.
You kid. But
No, I've seen it. I've seen it.
But
lump of hot glue coming off.
yeah, exactly. So people don't notice these things. So as for a seamstress, they know what the seams are. I just know, fabric stuck together, but instead of glue, you have lines of fabric sticking them together from a sewing machine. I don't care about the different seams. They look clean enough. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So that's a misconception there.
Yeah.
But it really depends. One of my first competition I judged, in hindsight, I'm embarrassed about because I didn't have any experience there. The ass was like, ooh, this sounds fun. I haven't done judging before. Let's give it a go. I was sucked into the bullshit that this person who can talked me into. They clearly bought a part because I noticed that there are discrepancies between the quality of like the shoulder armor versus the prop. They said they made it. This is made of PVC. But thinking back on the words, I still think of that day. That's like 8 years ago now. They never technically lied. I just assumed they made it because they were so descriptive of the materials of the prop that they bought. Like, okay, this is made of, how's this made of? It's made of PVC. Like, yeah, no, I can see that. It's glued on, it's slotted in this slot. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. But at the time, I was like, oh yeah, this is very clean. This is very polished. I didn't know better. But now, again, experience plays in.
Yeah, it does. Do you think as well that it's some of it? Obviously, you got cosplayers judging, but I do remember a lot of and people were still wanting to get their like celebrity guest, their B-list celebrity guest to judge.
Still happens now. Helping other cons run their competitions highlighted the amount of restrictions they put in place. Oh, this person's popular from Japan. They're an idol. What the are they gonna know? They just mime to stage in their AliExpress. No offense, this is a bit extreme. Not all idols wear AliExpress costumes, but this guy, he was popular in Japan. They brought them over to UK. They have no idea how to speak English. Like, how do you even translate what the people are describing? How they made the costumes and those kind of stuff to Japanese, and then to translate it again and then mark them. God, that was hard.
Yeah, I mean, what's really painful is when I used to see like cosplayers that I knew that were like had done like international competition. They're judging with the celebrity. I'm just like, this must be fun for them. But it's fine if you're judging like a masquerade, like saying, oh, that's fun, But when it was like a costume, like the idea was you were supposed to be judging the technical side of it and the role play and everything. And you're just like, you can see, you're like, there's no way there's no way they were happy with who won, because it's just some guy in like a Predator helmet or something that just comes.
Let me just think, what country was that? I'm not going to name the country. It's a European country, but there were celebrities or someone from the arts department of some industry. They were well known in their field. I have no idea who they are, and neither did I really care. I wasn't judging, but I was in the room because I was doing other duties. If I gave any more specific details, they'll call me out. But there was huge arguments of mark schemes where this person's are like, oh, this is better. I'm like, well, I didn't say that. Technically, the costume's not better because of the quality, and the performance and etc. Whatever else. There was huge arguments. I think there are always going to be some sort of, I wouldn't say heated debate, but not so calm debates within the judging room. The MART scheme, it again depends on the competition and the convention itself or the event itself. Some people take the numbers literally. If you give 7.5, you add up all the scores, highest wins.
Okay.
You can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
Not always fair. Other people are like, you always discuss. I think most people always discuss. And the judges, being not professional judging people, they're good at what they do. Most of them, again, generalization here, will go off the mark scheme. If you have a weighting of 50% performance, 50% costume, I personally feel it has to be weighted like that. The judges, it's their duty to read the mark scheme.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every competition's different. If it's like, 100% craftsmanship, the performance is just nothing, just to show the people watching. And it shouldn't matter if it's 70-20. The performance should decide if the craftsmanship is good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen, even on the biggest stages in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you obviously you experienced a lot of this firsthand as like a competitor, and then you said you were judging it as well. Like what made you come up with the scoring system for what you have at CosXpo now?
All of the above.
All
The
the
whole
above,
point
yeah.
of CosXpo is, hey, I've been to a lot of events. This can be slightly better. That can be slightly different. Oh, this, it might not be great, but maybe we can push it in a different direction. So that's the whole concept of CosXpo, as well as helping cosplay focus, terrible business model, is to give people the chance to experiment with tools and materials and workshops and whatever else that they don't get to do at home. Like, I would never have bought a belt sander if I've never tried it.
Yeah.
You can say what you want about, you must have a belt sander, but I'm like, it's 100 and something pounds. I ain't buying that.
Yeah.
But once I tried it, it's another thing, like airbrushes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the competition. Everyone on the team has competed quite a lot and for many years.
Yep.
And we just look at what are the biggest competitions that people try to strive for. What are the biggest opportunities? ECG being one of them.
Yeah.
And our mark scheme is very similar to it, but not completely the same, basically.
So that's European Cosplay
Gathering in Japan Expo in France,
Okay.
which we do have a qualifier this round or this year.
Oh,
guys
so
entering.
you're holding the qualifier for it at CosXpo.
Yeah, so that was kind of luck that we got that. In fact, everything I do is completely luck based.
Yeah, well.
Sorry, back to the competition. I'll talk about the luck later. That's another rant. You've opened many can of worms.
It's fine. It's fine.
Good.
So, what was I talking about again? Mark schemes.
Yeah,
yes.
Mark schemes. Yeah.
We do the 50-50 as well because we want to push people in the UK. UK is quite weak on performances, because all of the qualifiers or competitions are like craftsmanship with 20% performance, and people just normally mime.
Yeah,
and there are great people.
Yeah,
great people who are able to perform, and it's always a handful of people that would like to perform and will perform. You get newcomers are in, they always prance around and mime, maybe do a dance, prance around and mime. That gets repetitive. Nobody likes to see the same shit 20 times in a row.
Yeah,
it gets boring.
Yeah,
so we want to create opportunities for people to actually plan performances, and on our mark schemes and things we communicate with emails.
Yes.
We try to push people in the right direction to say, have you considered this? Have you considered that?
Yeah.
Rather than, here's mark schemes 50-50, you must tick these boxes, off you go. We try to push them in the right direction.
It's quite incredible.
Not everyone reads it.
No, they won't.
In fact, no one's read it.
No. It's incredible, isn't it? Like you say, even when you spell it out, even though most of us went to a school system where we had to read the question, that was important, people still don't. You say, oh, this is 50-50, and people still won't read what you have to do for performance, and it's, well, I mean, we made the mistake as well. Like we tried for the ECG. I can't remember what year it was, Robin, but we were like, I can't remember which year. It was when it was at Birmingham. And we went in with Game of Thrones costumes, and we did The mime
Was it a
thing.
miming?
Yeah.
Dramatic performance with a mime.
Yeah, we did Jamie and Cersei,
Yeah.
didn't we? And we like pre-recorded a scene and we went up and mimed to ourselves on this pre-recorded scene. But it was like you just
boring
said,
as hell.
It's boring, and
You might love it.
think,
People who knows Game of Thrones love it, but to the average Joe who never knows, it's like, who the fuck are these two?
They don't understand the conversation, don't know what's happening. It gets boring really quickly.
Yeah.
There's nothing that exciting.
But sorry, go on, Robin. Sorry.
Well, I think I'm going to say probably what you're about to say is that after that, instead of picking characters to cosplay as because we went, oh, we like this character, we started thinking of a performance first. And we started thinking, okay, what performance would go with this? And Oliver and I have had a performance and a concept on paper for about 4 years now.
It's a winning. We're not going to tell you what it is.
It is a winning performance. We have
winning
practiced it in
performance.
our garden. There's stunts. There's everything, and we are like, that is going to be one day, but never again are we just going to pick characters. Like, oh, they look kind of cool. Don't know what to do on stage, but we'll make the costume first, and then we'll think about that. It's like, no, performance is important, especially at 50-50 sort of competitions, which are the ones that are my favorite because I love performing.
But you know what we did? You know why we improved is because after the competition, instead of going, oh well, that person won, after competition I went to the judges and asked for feedback, and that's where they were like, your costumes were spot on. That's where we put our effort into. They're like, costumes are spot on. Your performance was just a million miles away because there was no. They were like, you weren't using your stage. You didn't tell a story, and then we came back. You just because you didn't win or you didn't get a prize or whatever or a mention, but you came back with something of value, literally just because you went up and asked the judge. Have you got feedback?
Yeah. The feedback thing, it's hit or miss really. Depends on who you ask. If it's someone who's done a lot, they've seen a lot, I think that's where the experience builds and they're able to give you constructive feedback. I've seen a couple of judges in the past where they said, your costume looks unfinished. What the f does that even mean? They can't tell them.
Yeah. So especially if it's like you say a marking system, because it's fine if that's like, oh, why don't I win this random masquerade, and they're like, oh yeah, well that one's better. But like you say, if it's a marking system, you're like, all right, so I lost points on my finish. What else did I, how far away was I, from everyone else?
And it's also to through doing it yourself, what that unfinished means, because even on I talk about film because that's all I know. If you have an edge that you just cut, it's sharp, it's 90 degrees. But in real life, what is actually 90 degrees? Probably nothing. Even metal, you can't have a sharp 90 degrees corner. No. You're going to have to file it down so it doesn't cut you. So that's what I guess what it could mean by being unfinished. But that judge at the time wasn't able to articulate that, and it pissed off whoever it was because it was high stake competition as well.
Well, this is the thing as well, because like when we started doing cosplay competitions, I'm a farrier for my day job, so I shoe horses, and I used to do horseshoeing competitions. And that is a big part of how we learn. A lot of good people who train people will force their apprentices to do competitions because it's a really good learning environment, because you're doing things under pressure. It's basically you have to, you're forced to improve yourself, because at the next competition, I want to get better because I want to win. But guess what? You're getting better at your trade as well, because you're being judged. So when I came into cosplay, that's probably why I, through competition, where were kind of gravitated towards, on one, being competitive, but two, that type of competition. Because if I go to a competition and I've spent all this money, all this time, and I've come all the way there, and I'm like, hey, can you give me some feedback? And they're like, nah. I'm just like, I've just come home with nothing, haven't I? Whereas if I go there and I've done something completely wrong, which it can be disappointing to hear, but you're like, well, you know what? I've actually gained something there,
Yeah.
And I feel like a judge should be able to. There was the one thing about when we used to talk about judges in that sphere was like, well, the judge can't justify their decision, then should they be judging?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Another constraint that not many people know of is judges aren't always picked for their skills. Some judges are picked because of constraints, budgeting constraints. Whoever free pipe up, you're now a judge. Nothing wrong with that, but also everything wrong with that at the same time. For smaller competitions, it doesn't matter. Literally any monkey can judge. It's a comparison, because at local cons and whatever else, there's always going to be one extremely enthusiastic guy that made a costume that doesn't fit everyone else's costume. Probably one of us, one of us enthusiastic.
Yes,
and then
they'll probably win.
Even a child can judge that, because that looks nicer, therefore they win. But for higher level competitions, again, budget constraints. A lot of conventions don't pay shit, and they say, okay, someone who is lowest pay, who lives within X miles of the competition, find them. And then it's up to whoever is the cosplay organizer for that event or that team, whatever, to find the best person for the job. Not everyone knows everyone, so there's constraints there. Or celebrities, voice actors, industry people. Industry judges differently because they have their way of doing things, which is probably better. But if you can achieve the same results, again, if it works, it ain't stupid. So those kind of constraints, or other more popular cosplayers that would draw people in, for example, that's loads of constraints people have to consider. So I would take judging, unless you're doing a cosplay specific competition for a cosplay specific event, that's huge, like ECG and those kind of you have to qualify to enter the finals, that kind of stuff. I would take judging with a pinch of salt. If you don't win, bad luck. Not everyone will win every time.
I mean, the good thing about that though is that it gives you like a tier system. So if you're getting to the point where you've gone to local, the local convention scene, and then you're getting to the stage where you are being competitive and you probably could be competing at a higher level, you're not wanting to mess around with that because of those reasons, because you're like, well, there's no point in me taking my costume that is a high standard. I know it's a high standard. And my performance is a high standard, but they're not going to respect that. I may as well not do those cons anymore. I may as well just move on to the higher competitions, the higher level competitions. At least with that kind of then obviously moves people up, and then other people can give it a go, and then you've got like a tier system, I guess.
Yeah, it works in America because the cosplay scene is much bigger than the UK. UK is very small compared to everything else. That you have, even at Dragon Con, you have the journeyman and whatever masters you can only enter if you've won a competition before. That's kind of unenforceable, really. In fact, that brings me to another point. How do you guys feel if someone entered a costume they have won on a higher level competition, or higher tier competition, whatever you call it?
Do you want to go first, Robin?
I think I actually thought this is where you were kind of going to go with that, Oliver, when you're talking about the tier system, is that if we're at like a small local convention, for example, and somebody has won there with this one year and whatever else, and they've gone off and they've competed elsewhere, and their costume skills gotten better and better, and they come back and they go back to that small local competition with a much superior costume when they've already gone out and experienced all this. I do feel that, first of all, takes away from some of the people who are just kind of breaking into it and learning. But also, there isn't anything against people being able to go and do that, really. So it's a weird one. I think that it is okay if it's into a different category, because some of these smaller competitions have these categories where they've got ones where you're in for the performance category. I think it's okay if you're kind of coming back and you're doing like a different sort of category or a new sort of thing and everything. That kind of is like, okay, yeah, I know this is not really where you excelled before and everything. But coming back with this beautiful, amazing, award-winning piece and going into your local convention, it's a bit like come on.
Instinctually for me, I think it's a bit off. Like I said, I feel like there needs to be like a tier, even though it's not defined, but I would put it in my head as like a tier system. So if someone were to go for like the Euro Cosplay or the ECG and they had the same costume in the same year and they went for both qualifiers and went, oh, if I get to one of them, that's great. But because they're sort of keeping on that level. But if they had won a big competition, like a big competition with that costume and then showed up at a local con with that
Or even
costume, then no, that I wouldn't, I'd be like, ugh, about it.
like you qualified and went to a country, Spain, for example,
Mhm.
and then won that competition, and
Yeah.
then you entered the same costume for ECG qualifiers.
Oh, yeah, because then they would be like that would be like part of the tier system. For in my instincts, I would be like, yeah, you've qualified, so that both the qualifiers would be on the same level in my head. But then if you won one of the qualifiers, I would probably drop out of the other qualifier because then I'm like, well, this is going to be my Euro cosplay or whatever cosplay. You know, at this stage, if I'm just going to the two qualifiers, all I want to do is I'm just at this level. I'm just trying to compete at this level. But once I've like taken a step up, I'm like, especially if it's the earlier one, I'm like, well, there's no point in me entering that because you know if I win, I don't want to be going. Why do I need to go to two massive ones with the same costume? You know, and then also people are going to be saying, oh well, they they represented the UK at that competition with the same costume. So yeah, in a nutshell, no, I don't think I'd be okay with it.
That's an interesting thing because I've only noticed this. Well, I've noticed this since when people started competing. Well, when I started competing, it only happens in cosplay. Like the fastest runner are allowed to go back to run
Yeah.
another race.
Yeah.
They can run
Yeah.
200, they can run 400, they can run 800 on the same day, even if they won. Other people LARP. A winning team can enter again into another LARP event. Basketball, you can enter many leagues.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon.
Yeah.
NBA stars entering your local basketball competition. Yeah, it's allowed.
It's yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I would say because I think the the more thing that in my head more equivalent to that would be so someone who's at a level of competition, especially if it's a high level of competition. I don't have have a problem with them winning multiple times, but I think it's because it's the same costume. If they obviously went, I've got this costume, and then a year later they come back and they win all the times in a row, because if there is like if people are adhering to that tier system, once you hit the top, like once you're Roger Federer, you can only you're only going to go to Grand Slams, aren't you? Because you can't go backwards. But then at the same time, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to go try and win the French Open because let's give everyone else a go. You're like, well, no, I'm a competitor, therefore I've hit the ceiling of competition, so therefore I have to kind of stay here. So I don't have a problem with people. I don't feel like I would have a problem with people constantly winning if they were good and deserved to win.
But with different costumes.
But with different costumes, yeah. Because do something
that's
different.
That's a curveball there.
Because are you getting better?
It's a weird one, actually. It's when you actually kind of put that out there and you're like, yeah, let's look at all these other hobbies and how that works. Cosplay is very different there, and it's a weird one, actually, because you're just kind of like, oh, well, of course not. And then, like you said, you list all these other hobbies and you're like, oh, why is it frowned upon in cosplay then?
So I think we have an actual example. I'm not going to say names. I'm trying to think of a way to do this that it's not overly obvious, right? But there were like when we were on like this in that kind of smaller scene, and we were like starting. There was a lot of like in 2016, 17. There was lots of cons popping up, wasn't there? So a lot of people were going around to the same conventions, and people were getting known for being the amazing cosplayers, and they would show up with the same costume and they would like win every competition, and then they got used to winning, and then the following year they would show up again with the same one and they would expect to win again. And then what actually happened is that those of us that were just like, oh, that person's won all these competitions, we were like, but they're not doing anything different, so therefore we can outthink them and we can beat them. And then what would happen is the following year they'd show up in the same costume, and this actually happened, and there was like 6 or 7 of us, and it was just they were a step below, and we wiped the floor with them. And so they eventually got quite frustrated and kind of left the competition scene instead of going, oh, those people beat me this time. Next year they went, oh, well, these judges, they don't know what they're talking about. My costume's the best. And then they stopped. So
with that in mind, does it actually matter if people enter the same costume at different events and year after year?
Yeah, so no.
Why do people care?
No, it doesn't matter.
Why?
I think
So
You're
why shouldn't it be
competing, you
allowed?
wanna- yeah.
I think the instinct comes from like I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like if that's, I mean, there's situations where I might do, depending, but my first instinct is like I wouldn't do it. But yeah, like I don't, because like I'm quite a competitive person. So like if someone keeps winning and people are frustrated, then I'm like,
Get good, innit?
yeah, yeah. It's just like, well, beat them, you know.
Why
It's-
didn't I win? Well, maybe think about it another way.
Yeah.
Why am I shit?
yeah.
It's not that, that's the thing. It's focusing on this other person and being like, oh my God, but they've already entered that, and they're really
It's
great and
always other
everything.
people.
Focus on why did you not win?
Yeah.
But then
I think it's a change of mindset, really.
yeah, because you can see it as like, I mean, I'm assuming that's why you enjoy the competition side of it, because when you put that forward, it's like you can see that as a problem solving thing. It's just like, it's not like, oh no, this person keeps showing up, and no, you can be like, okay, well, why do they keep winning? What's the criteria they're hitting?
Well, yes, that is one of the rules that we put in. We did discuss this at length when we're writing our own rules.
Yeah.
Our rule is if the person won the previous year at our event, they're not allowed to compete. But we explicitly did not put the rule down. If you've won with the same costume before,
Okay.
you can't compete here. You can do as many competitions as whatever else, but you just can't enter both years if you have placed. I think it's not perfect, but it works because, again, it lets other people have a go.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it also says, well, if you didn't win, your costume isn't as good as someone who's won 10 times with the same costume at other events. So get good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We're discussing whether we should just wear our LARP kit to CosXpo.
Absolutely, yes.
Let's do it.
Just to take advantage of all the photographers there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What character are you? Oh, it's this thing. It's this real niche thing you've never heard of.
Oh, that's another can of worms, isn't it? Oh, I have to cosplay. Oh, I used to have so much pressure just doing social media. What's popular? Let's go make that.
Yeah.
Well, I do
Yeah.
enjoy it, making those kind of costumes, but do I enjoy it as much as I want to enjoy it? Probably not.
I mean, that's where we got because we got a little bit more burnt out, but just, it felt like the industry was, like you say, with the social media, especially like, yeah, we had obviously we were following a lot of people, but yeah, we actually had friends that were doing the same thing, and they would like, it got to the point where you had to look at like concept art. People were like coming out with cosplays like as the teaser trailer was coming out for something, and you're like, that's a lot of stress, and
I might not even like this character. This is too much pressure.
Kenny, I'm sure.
Shite.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm sure you probably are the same, but yeah, we definitely know people that cosplay characters that they don't have any love for, and they've never seen the show,
Yeah.
but it's just because that's fine if you want to do that. But yes,
It's
we know
popular. I want the fame.
Yeah, but we know people that like put themselves under a lot of pressure to be like, I have to do this, and then it's just because that's the in thing. And
If that's what they want, want to do, then great. But
yeah,
that's not for me. I don't think.
Yeah.
I've made some really obscure characters like Chappie. That's not a really popular film.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, how old is Chappie? I've never even seen it.
God.
It's a
Very old.
Older film.
Old
right?
enough.
Yeah. It's old enough. Yeah, it's not. It wasn't on Netflix like last week, so
no.
Therefore, it's not relevant. it's not. Nobody would watch a TikTok of it, So what was? Go on.
Another thing. My God, are you recording this?
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, we can
You
start.
just opened my can of we could have another podcast series things that pisses Kenny off.
We can have a segment. I'll chop it up into
This
a
really
million
grinds
shorts.
my gears.
Yes. What else? When people say, "Oh, I don't want to cosplay this character because someone else has done it," I'm like, "Why the would that matter?"
Yeah.
I don't want to cosplay this because someone else has done it better. I'm like, well, you're not always going to be the best.
Yeah.
What do you care?
Yeah.
I made Iron Man and went to an Iron Man group. We all look the same. We're all red.
yeah,
So, and we all
I
give
mean,
each other high fives.
yeah.
We're all but okay.
speaking to someone who's done like a million Harley Quinn cosplays, and the amount of times that I would even have like actual friends be like, "Oh, you're cosplaying? You know, there's gonna be lots of other people doing that. Do you know what to do something else?" I'm like, "No, I like Harley Quinn. I'm doing
Yeah, exactly.
it. I'm putting my money and my time into something I don't like because if I get frustrated at it, I'll remember I like the character and I'll keep going."
Do you think it's a little bit to do with the that kind of faux fame thing that people get? Because I know that kind of was a shock to my system when I first started cosplaying. Was I wasn't used to people like running up to me being like, "Oh, hey," and just having an excuse. Because especially when you're an adult, like, because kids do all the time with other kids, they're just like, "Oh, hey, will you be my friend? Okay, yeah, and we'll do this."
Yeah.
But as an adult, it's not usual for someone to spot you from across like a hall, like an arcade or something, and go running over to you and be like, "Oh, hey, I can't believe." But that's one good thing about cosplay. But yeah, it's quite a shock to the system. Do you think there's something that people like chase about that? Like, if I'm the only this character at this convention, more people are going to be like, oh wow, you're this thing.
Maybe, maybe not. It could be that. It could be, well, everyone's a bit vain, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you're not, if you say you're not, then you're lying.
No, I definitely am. Yeah.
Everyone wants some sort of recognition.
Yeah.
You know, why do people don't become celebrities, and why do people try to get TikTok famous? Because they want recognition and want to feel popular.
Yeah.
And when you're a character that everybody loves, you might get that false sense of, well, we all have it. I had it.
Yeah.
Doing certain characters. That's and then you get recognized for that character. People share the same enthusiasm. Kind of like, why do people go watch football? Everyone there loves football.
Yeah.
They share the same enthusiasm. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
And you get to be the center of attention for a given amount of time.
Yeah. And
then you can just take it off and stop having that attention.
Yeah.
So I guess that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little endorphin hit as well, isn't it? Because you're just like, and especially social media, you're just like, oh, these people shared my costume. These people shared my costume. This this actor retweeted my thing, and people lose their minds, and it's great because it's a massive endorphin hit.
Again, this brings back to everything I've done was pot luck. Yes, people tweeted and whatever retweeted, but not even the same costume. You might not get attention in the same or the same amount of attention for the same different posts. Even you might get 5 likes, you might get 600 likes for the same costume, and then you keep chasing. Oh, why didn't I get this? It's just where you are at. If you are at the right place at the right time, and you just get so lucky with everything. With CosXpo, it was luck. With winning competitions, it was again luck. Yes, I made some costumes, but the amount of people dropped out. People always drop out, and then you end up with 3 other people, and then you suddenly win. You go, oh well, I was lucky.
Yeah.
You might not win in a big competition. I've lost before. I have not won before, and so. Another fun fact: every time I'm on stage, I'm absolutely smashed.
I was going to ask you about your stage performances because I love them. And when we were like researching performances before, I remember literally just searching your name over and over again to see all the ridiculous things. I'm like, wow, how does he come up with this?
I just get smashed.
This is great. And yeah, you're okay. So you're just so that's what we should do.
Depends on how well you handle your drinks.
Yeah. We'll put that in the maybe pile.
Make sure.
Cersei had red wine up on the stage. I was drinking red wine as Cersei, and there was like a delay, and I was like, I've got my glass ready, and there was a delay, and I was like, I might as well just drink it then. I don't need more wine now, and it helped.
Yeah, it really does. At ECG, the French one, when I was on stage, I could not see the stage, partially because I was wasted because I had a bottle of whiskey, and partially because my vision was about like this.
Yeah.
And it was looking at the floor, and I had to jump around on this thin 3-meter stage that goes all the way out.
Yeah.
And I was jumping around blind and wasted, and at the end I was like, oh
my god! So what costume did you compete there with?
Mecha Kha'Zix, the one with the butt plugs as shoulders.
Is that a LOL thing?
Yeah. Let me find a picture.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the thing. Is that the buggy the bug one?
Yeah. The one with the literally butt
yeah.
plugs.
No, I've seen that costume of
butt
yours.
plugs.
Yeah.
Did you not use a space hopper on stage once?
Oh yeah. They made a new rule because I chucked it off. The person who was trying to catch it missed, and it bounced around the crowd. I nearly got disqualified for it.
So
Oh, really?
you're one of these people, you know, when there's like rules come out and it says, you know, no space hoppers. You're the person that made it so that was never real.
Yeah, those obscure rules. It's like, yeah, please do not ingest this piece of paper. And you're like, they've had to write that because somebody has done it.
Someone
They technically said no projectiles, and it wasn't a projectile. They were supposed to catch it, but they didn't catch it because it was a giant space hopper.
Projectile.
I remember messaging you about CosXpo one year, and I was like, "Oh, I've got an idea for a performance, but at the end of it, I want to jump off the stage. Can I jump off the stage?" And you were like, "It should be fine. It should be fine." And it wasn't until the performance was happening, and I got to the end, and I realized the front row, all the photographers there, and I remember like seeing your face, and it was almost like that. I told her she could jump off the stage.
Don't do it.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
There's always no rules until someone set up, right?
Yeah. So yeah, what has it been like? I mean, that it's a lot to take on. What possessed you to actually? I mean, you've alluded to why you wanted to do your own convention because you're like, oh yeah, I could do this a little bit better. But it's you must have known it. That's a lot to take on because there's a lot to think about, like health and safety rules.
No, I did not think.
You did not think.
It all triggered from this drama that was online that I'm sure everyone's heard about.
Yeah. It's funny, we were far enough, like geographically, we were quite far away from that. So
the world, in Aberdeen.
the world. So yeah, we knew of it. Sort of, there was this bad drama going on in
I'll recap for people who haven't heard.
In a nutshell.
God, telling this story again. So, Facebook happens and you just scroll and you have nothing better to do with your life, like I did at the time. And then someone wanted to volunteer for an event, but they couldn't spell volunteer. And I thought I'd troll them and then wrote, "You can volunteer when you learn how to spell." And obviously that triggered a whole bunch of woke people, especially the convention organizer at the time. And then they're like, "Oh, I'll make sure you never guest again at another event." I'm like, but I'm going to MagicCon next week and the week after, and I was doing this because that was at the time when I was doing at least 1 or 2 events per month.
Right, yeah.
For the entire year, it's a crazy amount of events. And then I'll make sure you never guess in the convention circuit and whatever. I'm like, what convention circuit? I'm just doing my thing. And then I'm like, "Oh, do you want to come here?" "Yeah, all right." "Will I get free drinks?" "Yeah, all right, let's go." So that was that kind of stuff. And then basically pulling the "you'll never work in my town" kind of.
Yeah.
And I wasn't having that. And I was trolling him, and then it just went on to private messages where like, "Oh, you treat women," and like, what the f are you talking about? So I basically trolled him. My girlfriend at the time, I just put a bag over her head and said, "This is how I treat my bitches," and that kind of stuff. And he just got so fed up with that, and then posted that everything public.
Yeah. Okay.
And basically from the "you can volunteer when you learn how to spell" comment. So this blew up because I was just trolling him. I was drinking at the time as well, so it was even more funny.
Kenny's like, "I was on stage at the time."
I love your comments on people's things. Sometimes if I see something and I'm like, "What the hell?" Let me see if Kenny's commented on this. He would have pointed this one out by now.
So it all blossomed from that, and again, stuff that happened with him. People started coming out. He was an alleged paedophile, grooming children, but we're not going to go into that. That's got nothing to do with me. And then at the end, he just said, "You're toast, mate. You're not going to find anything. You're never going to work and never going to guest again." And then that became a meme. I started, when I was streaming at the time, all of my affiliate icons, those emojis. That was me with a piece of toast.
Was it?
It was hilarious. And it was like, it all blew up real time, basically.
Yeah.
And I just put a throwaway comment and be like, well, should I just start my own convention since I'm not going to be a guest anywhere? I'll just start my own convention for blackjacks and hookers.
Yeah.
Who's in? And then that just kind of
In
took
fact-
off.
Forget the convention.
Previous to that, it's I've been to so many conventions. I can do this better. The organization here could be better. People backstage could be treated better. So, I can bring my own water. So at CosXpo, we do provide snacks and drinks and whatever else because nobody wants to stand for ages waiting to get on stage.
Yes.
That kind of shit. We can. What about how do we make costumes? Well, I know how to make foam, but I don't know other things. Well, why should people Google online? Why not we bring in people who knows how to do that and do talks? Oh, talks are boring. Death by PowerPoint. Everyone's heard that expression before.
Yes.
Okay, let's do workshops. Let's do demos. Maybe not just the presentation talk. So everyone who's applied to do talks and stuff, we just kind of message them, make sure the content is not boring as say, hey, okay, you can maybe change a bit of this. Not everyone listens. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But at most, it's good. We started doing a lot more workshops this year as well. Previous years we had just embroidery, even pattern designing, pattern drawing. Yeah, you can talk on PowerPoint. This is how you make a pattern, but getting people hands-on, cutting pieces of paper, it takes a lot more time, and it costs money to buy materials, but it's more fun.
Yeah.
And some people don't learn by PowerPoint, so different learning styles. Like embroidery, concept isn't hard, but people are scared because, oh no, embroidery, I've never done it before, it's so hard. And you just poke a needle through a piece of fabric and then repeat. If you break it down like that.
Isn't it so? Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Sewing has a thing like that as well, and for some reason a lot of men have a knee-jerk reaction to like, oh, I don't sew, but it's the same as every other type of fabrication you're going to do. You have two pieces of material, you stick them together. If it's two pieces of metal, you're going to be welding or brazing. If it's a piece of foam, you're going to be gluing. If it's two pieces of fabric, you're going to use another piece of thread. Right? It's the same thing, but for whatever reason,
unless you do the forbidden hot glue on fabric.
I don't know a few real good sewers that used to get so mad at people gluing Velcro. They were like, sew your Velcro. Do not glue your Velcro.
Someone looks guilty.
Look, see when time's a thing.
Yeah.
I worked Keyleth through CosXpo last year, and on the same weekend I agreed to we guested on a D&D actual play and the DM was running it for 24 hours for charity, and we were like, yeah, we can do all this in the one weekend. We can make 2 full cosplays for this. Let's do it. And I got to almost the end of Keyleth, and I think I had done something stupid with the stitching, whatever it was, and I was like sitting there and I just saw the hot glue gun there, and I was like, it's for a day. For a day. No one's going to know.
It's sometimes difficult to get yourself out of that mindset. Do you ever find that, Kenny, or don't you? Like, if you're like, you've got to the point where you're like, oh yeah, I've done these competitions and I've got all this skill set, and then sometimes you're like, you know what, I'm not even competing in this thing, and I can just wear it for like a day. It doesn't actually have to be that good, and then you're like, why am I
always?
Yeah.
My last costume was AliExpress man. I made foam bits that stuck together, weathered AliExpress capes and bodysuits and those kind of stuff.
Yeah,
covered up in bits. Wore it for a day for Fantasy Forest. I had a great time because I had no obligations.
We want to go to Fantasy Forest. It's like literally. In fact, you're asking where we were. Like it's literally in the same town as us.
Oh, really?
Forest. Yeah. It's just on the outskirts, just out of town.
I'll meet you there next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think because they're like a lot of LARPers go to that as well, and they're usually at all like the. In fact, have they been at your convention? Have they been at CosXpo? No. Fantasy Forest, because they usually go around to a lot of conventions.
I can ask them to come over.
Yeah, they've got like a little.
They're keen.
They are keen, and they take lots of things and everything. Because that's when we were like, oh, we could just go for the day, or we could take the Bell tent and we could stay there.
Yeah. So the one thing I really like about your convention, because when we were doing a lot of because people say conventions, but they mean comic conventions and pop culture conventions,
Yeah,
right?
we don't call it a convention technically.
Yeah,
It's an event for cosplayers.
Yeah, it's like, and people go, oh, cons. But the thing that got really that started to get annoying, because yeah, fair enough, Comic Cons can be fun, but when you're doing a lot of them, and then you're like, I'm just here for the cosplay, and then especially if you've got like a decent, like if you go into something like you're trying to qualify for something, and then like you say you have to stand around in the costume all day, and usually it's hot and uncomfortable, and you spend a lot of money and time on it, and then you have to walk through these halls with a million idiots that have no personal space whatsoever, that will just go
Yeah.
bang straight into you, especially when you've got like impaired vision, if you've got a helmet on or something. And it's just like, it's so nice to go to an event where it's like, I don't like, there's no, obviously the general public welcomes you at your event, but
Yeah.
it's people are there because they're interested in cosplay, and they have a respect for cosplay. It's not just like, you've not got people just running in going like, oh look, there's people dressed up there, and,
You're not treated like a cast member at Disney or something. You're actually like, able to actually interact with like-minded people and learn all these new skills and things, and just have a bit of fun. No, it's I can't wait for this year, because
it's a huge misconception that CosXpo, it's only for elite cosplayers and everything. It's literally the opposite, because a lot of the workshops we will cater for people who has skills and people who want to learn and hasn't got the skills or interested, in fact. That's one side of things, just trying to push people to knowledge share between each other, through panels, workshops, demos, etc., and just being around other cosplayers. You get chatting and you go, oh my god, how do I make this? How did you make this? And then you make friends there. That's one of the things. We are trying to push that this year as well, because we're setting up more, because people travel alone. They don't know people. They're like, oh, these people are already in groups, so we're going to make some space for that in the schedule to try and connect people. I think it's called CosXpo Connect. I can't remember what the name is. Other things, like guests, because back to the point of, we don't call it convention, because a lot of people say conventions are just Comic-Con and stores. Yes, we have some stores. Money ain't going to make itself, and those kind of stuff. But the focus isn't on stores, it's on the content itself. It's a terrible business model, because that just loses money everywhere. But the other thing is guests. Yeah, people have guests. We don't technically call it guests, because we don't have, we had dedicated tables, but we always encourage them to stand in front of the tables, but rather than behind the tables, because they're there to, again, not to be idolized upon. They're there to knowledge share and do their whatever duties, which is judge duties and that kind of stuff. We try to, again, back to the judging point, UK drama has UK things. So we try to have not all UK panelists. Yeah, it costs money, but I think having people that are foreign, who don't know the people in the UK scene, that's also important for us for the competition side. So it's those kind of things. Back to, we can probably do it better here, we can do it better there, but it's not just all me. It's literally the entire team effort. Nobody gets paid, so we're just doing this as a passion project. Because we've all been to enough conventions or events at the time just to say, this can probably change, but no one listens, because cosplay doesn't make money for big companies. Cosplay is an attraction. People are going to cosplay regardless if you bring them content. And a lot of times, nobody's there to listen to lectures at MCM. I can guarantee that. They're there to buy things and drink. You might get the odd cosplayer that might listen to how to make foam or sew stuff, but that's a classroom shit. If you want to learn, you want to go to a classroom or tutorials, and we want to be able to provide that kind of space at CosXpo, really.
No, I think it's great. At least you say it's a bad business model. At least you can corner the market. It's just the thing. But they are. I mean, they are good for actual complete beginners, because before you start CosXpo, there was a couple of friends of ours did an event called CosCon up in Aberdeen, and it was literally. It was literally, this is going to be a cosplay focused thing, and it was right after like the Aberdeen Comic Con. And we, so this is like a little dipping into a little bit of our cosplay origin story. Robin was like, "Oh, they're doing a Comic-Con in Aberdeen." I'm like, "Cool." She's like, "I'm going to dress up," and I'm like, "You want to do what?" I'm like, "You want to dress up?" I'm like, "Okay." And then I went and I spent the entire time holding Robin's stuff because she was getting loads of photos taken. I got really jealous, and I was like,
bitch.
"Yeah." I was like, right. I'm like, this ain't happening again. I'm cosplaying the next thing. And then we heard about this little event they were doing,
CosCon, yeah.
and it was just like, it was purely workshops, and people. Because sometimes people go, "Oh yeah, what, you don't know how to like do this with foam? There's loads of stuff on the internet." I'm like, I literally didn't. I literally walked into that, and they had a few people there. One of them was Mike from What You See at Creative, and he was doing the foam stuff, and I was just like, I didn't know people made their own costumes. I had no idea. I didn't know it was a thing that you made your own costumes, and there was a competitive side to it. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you get this stuff," and I'm like, "Well, I could do that," you know. So that was super. That was literally what got me into cosplay. That type of content, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't know what a sewing pattern was. I'd never sewed. I didn't know what a sewing pattern was. I had no idea. I didn't know that I could like make a dress from something like that. So clueless.
Well, because that was Lex, right?
That was Lex, yeah. And she was like, because I kind of went up, I was like, I don't actually know what a sewing pattern is. And I remember seeing her face and be like, okay, we're gonna take this back a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
I met Lex when I was entering LSCC.
Yeah.
That was a very fun can of worms.
Yeah.
Because I think she was just performing. I think she was well known at the time. I had no idea who anyone was, and neither did I care. Because well, now I know she's very good at what she does in terms of sewing, and she's won many competitions. But I met her there. I was just chatting away. I think she was feeling anxious or something. We just chatted because I had no idea who she was.
Yeah.
And I just did my thing, and there was this other person who also competed. They were extremely competitive. The night before the competition, because they saw I was entering and everything, they went up to me at the pub and said, "I'm gonna destroy you tomorrow." I'm like, what the we're not even entering the same category. I'm entering duos and you're doing solos. And
it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be so good.
They were warned.
Where's this person from?
Yeah, they were warned about some of the language they were going to do on stage, because when judges are highly sensitive, that kind of stuff. They did it anyways. Eventually, they didn't win. And backstage, they just threw their prop and... You know the flipping table meme?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was exactly like that.
Was it really?
Flip
Wow.
table, that kind of shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was there like, hey, I'm just getting wasted and dancing on stage. Two cheeky girls, but okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. It gets, when the competition gets to that stage, like it gets really tense. People do get wound up and tense. It's like they feel like it's high stakes. And
yeah, but that's where I met Lex pretty much, just backstage meeting people.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
In fact, we talked about like social media and things like that. I hope Lex doesn't mind us talking about it, but like I know it was actually Lex that had mentioned about, because she was doing the, competing at a very high level before the big kind of explosion in cosplay, and especially in the UK, with social media. And I'm pretty sure she said to us one, like, I just don't have a social media presence, and it feels like we have to have one now. And it's just like, it's like they're just everywhere, because we didn't realize. I think there was not, that was what the thing with CosCon, wasn't it? So we just
did
like
a Cos Dates, which was
that's
like
what it was. Yeah,
it was kind of like if you imagine like a sort of like
blind dating,
like a blind dating night,
but
no. Instead it was to make Comic-Con style friends, to make cosplay friends. It was really fun, and I swear I met her, most unassuming person ever, because I met her and she was just there. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna I might cosplay tomorrow. I'm not too sure yet, And she was chatting away, and she was like, "Oh no, I do a little bit of sewing, so I'm probably gonna do that." Jesus Christ! Start the next day, and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
I think walk in as a poster of her.
His opposed is like, "Oh yeah, two-time representative UK and World Cosplay Summit." I'm like, "Oh okay."
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes when you're mentioning about how stressed people get, sometimes when it comes to, it can be stressful. but the anger that some people display around it, I feel like just saying, you need to remember sometimes we're adults dressing up and dancing on stage. We don't really need to be angry about it.
Yeah,
I
mean that's I've got to admit it's because being competitive, I've already said a couple of times on this podcast, like I'm competitive, and sometimes it does take joy out of things when you are competitive, and that's why I enjoy playing things like D&D. In though sometimes people are competitive at D&D, but there's no there's no clear winner, right? So it's just like it's a collaborative game of pretend, and even though there's competitions within LARPing and things like that, it's not there's no like at the end of the LARP event, because we're all just playing a role play game in a fantasy world like D&D, and especially in the system we go to, there's no end prize where they go, I'm the best LARPer this weekend is this person. So that I feel like that's why I've kind of ended up going to that side of it, because I feel like it can take the joy out of it sometimes.
In terms of social media and stuff, the reason why I started my social media stuff is because people got so fed up with me posting my progress pictures on Facebook, and this is piss off somewhere else. So I'm like, oh, Facebook offers this functionality called Page. Okay, I'll just dump it on there. If you're interested in cosplay shit, dump it all on there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
are you allowed
that's what I do. But that did actually open up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So I do understand why people want bigger numbers.
Yeah.
But my numbers are tiny.
Well, I mean, especially like you said yourself, like if you're,
I got luck.
Yeah, because I'm assuming if you're getting people from internationally to come over, then you're gonna have to be able to find them. You have to be able to yeah. So in that respect, yeah, I guess like if you want to do things like that, then I guess you kind of have to have a social media presence.
I guess one of the things I was so lucky about is because I probably tick boxes, to be honest, being a male in a mostly competitive female scene. Being Asian and being different, it's just box ticking. Hey, let's get this guy.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Two birds, one stone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like you talked about luck earlier, like it's luck is always going to be one element, but like you got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to go. Yeah, when the opportunity arises, you got to be like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Yeah,
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you've got the ECG. Are you run ECG qualifiers, European Cosplay
Yes, as well as another one.
Okay.
One from Austria at Unicon. Why UNI, not UNI? That's a different con in Latvia. Okay. There's a new competition called Tournament of Champions, TOC.
That sounds epic.
Yes.
That one is 100% craftsmanship, and the performance part is just to prance around on stage.
Oh, I just spin, yeah.
Catwalk, pretty much.
Yeah, catwalk. So are you doing that as well as your normal?
No, not.
So you drop in your CosXpo one, and you're doing those two.
Yep, shit, they'll come free, man.
Yeah.
I can't afford all the prizes.
Ambition. I know, right? You'll be losing all your gaming chair. You'll be losing your furniture. CosXpo Championship. Win this chest of drawers.
Yeah. All the prizes we bought, like all the airbrushes were given away, and that isn't sponsored.
Yeah, and then
the prizes that you do at CosXpo. Oh my gosh! Like I've never seen another competition does prizes quite like you do. Did you not have secret lab chairs one year? Yes,
we did. We gave up some chairs. It's a pain to send home, but I think there was a few that we just sent via post.
Yeah, so you just order it from them.
Yeah, but the chairs were sponsored for sure.
Yeah.
But the other prizes weren't.
Yeah,
because the prizes are just. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's fine. No.
Because we're all cosplayers, we know what we want. Tools, money. Yeah, let's have both. Let's have a toolbox full of tools like Prozaid and new blades and
that was a good one.
Equipment.
Yeah. Wobbler.
Yes.
Ton of wobbler. Here we go. Take it all home. You might use it one day.
One day.
Yeah. Are you still going to have your masquerade as well, like just the regular?
Non-judge one, just so people who don't want to compete, they can have a chance of showing off their costume, really.
Yeah.
So the ECG is pretty much what because you'd already said you based a lot of what you were doing anyway for your
Yes.
CosXpo championship. So people coming to CosXpo to compete won't. It's a very similar kettle of fish, then, right?
Pretty much the same,
Yeah, pretty much
but
the same.
with the chance of adding props to stage, which they were allowed before, but I think we encourage it more for ECG qualifiers, really.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we went to qualify, we were like, oh shit, we need a prop. You know, the stage prop was like, if it says there, it mentioned stage props, so we better do something with stage props. And again, it was our like bullshit.
That's why we mentioned it,
Yeah.
to push
Yes.
people in that direction, because you don't get told you're allowed props. You can ask, but people say, oh, you're allowed it, but bring props. We mentioned props more than one time.
Yeah. It's like
Prop dimensions.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be so specific when we don't want you using props?
Yeah.
So
It's like the time, isn't
like
it?
trying to
Yeah.
your dimensions. I can't remember off the top of my head, obviously, but I remember like reading it, and it was like, it was like a total dimension of such and such. And I was like standing in the living room, and I was like, oh, I want to do like this big scene and everything. So I'm like measuring the walls and being like, okay, I know this might be slightly out. Will they be okay? And I remember messaging you being like, what if I had extra people to carry things? I remember you just being like, this sounds cool. So yeah. But then
yeah, again,
ended, so,
how many people are allowed? How much the props weighs? It can only be carried by 2 people. Only 2 people can help. Those restrictions are all in ECG as well, because you have to travel abroad, especially. So everything has to be self-contained and be able to be put on stage in a timely fashion, basically.
And the other the good thing about the ECG, I'm assuming it's still the same. You'll have a singles and a pairs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or pairs or trios, groups they call it.
Oh, groups. Sorry, yeah, groups. Yeah.
So you can have 3.
Yeah, because obviously that's what we were kind of going for with the pairs, because it's handy because you can.
Have you entered?
Rehearse? No.
No, we've
Why
not.
Because
Because there's only a couple of months away, and we could enter.
Yeah. No. No.
You can.
No. We'll do it.
You've made your boots, so
We'll do it next year.
most of
That's
the
all I
cosplay.
made. I honestly, Kenny, I made these boots for this costume
They're beautiful.
3 years ago. They are amazing boots, because I was at that stage. I was just like, I'm going to start with the boots, and this is going to be like a year build. So the boots are pristine, but that is all I have. And I bought materials for it, specifically leather, right? And now it's like a lot of it's just like sitting around currently like behind Robin.
I might have used all of the leather.
So now all the leather is being used for like, I don't know, handmade Christmas gifts and things like that. So
Armor.
Yeah.
I have used all the leather. I should let you know that.
Yeah. But I tell you what though, like researching the ECG when we were interested in it, I think it's testament to a good judging criteria if you can predict, right? So we were kind of like really looking into it. We came to CosXpo every year it's run, I think, like, and then by the time like we came to, and something we quite like to do, we're like obviously watching the competitions, but you can actually sit down, watch the performances, and even without like seeing them up close, you get like, if you know the criteria, you get pretty damn close to like who you think is going to be in the top 3. I think that's a pretty good sign of a decent judging system, because if you have it and you're like, wait, what?
We've never had that there. We're watching, being like, wait, what, they won? It's alwaed been like, knew it'd be either them or them.
Because you do. You're like, not that we want to like say, oh yeah, we're sitting in the back bitching about everyone, but yeah, no, it's from purely a love of cosplay and the competition side of it. Yeah, we will go like, oh yeah, that's a beautiful costume, but they didn't use the whole stage. They didn't tell a story, because like you said, sometimes people will come out and you're like, I'm sure this is an amazing anime that you're lip syncing to, but I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's happening. Whereas sometimes people can come out and I have no idea. I've never played a Dark Souls game in my life, and they'll come out and they'll literally tell a story with a beginning, middle, and end using all the, and I know exactly what their character is about. I'm like, oh, I know that he's obviously some sort of hero. The box is deadly. Everything is deadly in this person's world, and it sucks to be in this world. And they've told a story. I'm like, that's a good performance.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah. And then obviously it's a good. That's what makes a good competition then, because it's like,
Because the competition for us, it's not about people competing. Yeah, they win, they get prizes, but at the end of the day, it's a show.
Yeah.
For people that you have to make interesting, and with people just mouthing and just pacing, yeah, if you see 20 of them consecutively, it's gonna get well boring. So
Yeah.
not just that, from the organization side, we try to, I think, I'm sure a lot of cons try to spread it out as well.
Yeah.
Because I think we have a strict submission form that we vet everything and say, okay, this is probably going to be as fun as ever, so we'll put this over here and space them out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But the other thing, I guess, as well, is because there's not people aren't put in front of competitions like that. So yeah, I mean, obviously you do get people that enter every competition in any kind of hobby that's competitive or sport that's competitive, and they'll just show up and do the same thing over and over again, and then they're like, oh, I've never won. But you will probably have people that have exactly. But you will have people that just have gone to convention and gone, oh, that's how they do it. They come out, they do a twirl, and then they come back, and then they're like, oh, there's a big competition, I could win this prize, I'm going to enter, and they haven't, because they haven't read what the criteria are, and they'll show up and they'll just do it. So I guess that's one reason you have to push that in your email.
Or they've not looked at prejudging. They've not actually read that information, and they've come completely unprepared, and then they're standing there in front of with a minute or 2 minutes amount of time to explain what they did, but they've not brought any pictures or any evidence or anything that people can actually look at.
We do, I think, specify you should bring material to show your progress picture. Yeah, you can submit it online, but bring a progress book with you to do that kind of stuff.
I brought my several files so everyone can have one.
That's another thing about prejudging. Again, another can of worms open. There's a lot of bitching on the internet. Oh, this person was robbed of that costume, but you didn't see the judges or see what the judges saw in that closed room where they just literally touch everything of your costume. Maybe the judges are wrong. There's a chance that they may be wrong, but maybe their seams are just completely hot glued in. That kind of stuff.
But that should also be a predictor. If the
but you can't see it from afar.
No, so we'll say, oh yeah, that person, that they're probably well up there because that was a really good performance, and from here it looks great. And then there's a winner, and it's just like, oh yeah, that dress must have been absolutely flawless. It must have been absolutely spot on, And that's part of it. That's the predictor. So how many is there a change in the number of judges for ECG? Is it still 3?
No. Well,
4?
We always pick an odd number because if there's a deciding vote, there's always going to be a clear win. I've seen splits before, and it was a pain when they argue. So we always pick not an odd number. 5 is a bit too much because we're poor, so 3 is the magic number, I suppose. So ECG finals is 5, I think.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So what? Because you mentioned earlier about point score. There's no points in.
Well,
it's discussion.
Our mark scheme. No, it is points. Our points. Everyone marks out up to 10 because 10's an easy number to mark to.
Yeah.
You can always. Everyone counts to 10, and from there we have a Excel sheet that calculates the percentages, because in each category, performance and no cons that I know do this. So this is a first for us anyways. We put those scores of 10 into the spreadsheet, or they can type it if we have enough tablets lying around. And then for the performance section, it's split into 3 different categories. The number of skills used or whatever else, how clean it is, I can't remember. Just read the PDF, I suppose, if whoever's interested. But out of those 3 sections, we have a weighting system. So if it's 25% and then 10 and 5, the score of 10 will be weighted that way. It would come up with a final score for performance and craftsmanship, and then the total at the end. And obviously that would highlight the top 5 or top 10 or something like that, depending on how many entries we have. And from there, it's a discussion. If there's a clear winner and then they pick something else, we will spot it and go, hang on, judges, what the f are you guys doing? But I don't think that's ever happened, but we're
No.
prepared for that. The convention shouldn't interfere, but if we're feeling it's unfairly judged, we will interfere. And for one of the competitions that we've ran for another event recently, don't really want to put names in, I did step in because I feel one of the contestants were judged a bit too harshly. It could have been for personal disagreements in the past, but I had to step in and go back up. So we shouldn't interfere, but if we feel, again, because we're all cosplayers, we have all been judges, we've all competed as well, I think it is, or even in the convention, the clauses, the terms and conditions, we wrote judges' decisions are finals, but if anything goes wrong, the event would step in, that kind of stuff.
So it's just everything's out there. It's nice and clear, and like you said, it's a full PDF there. Everything is there for everyone to have the information. And I think that's really important. The fact that you are all cosplayers or have that experience, because then you've all had positive and possibly negative experiences as well within the competition side of it. And I mean, we've not done a huge amount, but I've done quite a few of the pre-judging things, and the difference between, because I have had prejudging ones which have not been too comfortable, should we say, but the one that I had CosXpo was great. In fact, we ended up there was a lot of laughing, which I remember was a weird one, because there was something about the people that were there and went in, and I had this urukai head, and instantly just people wanted to chuck the urukai head around, and I was like, yes, because I want you to know how awesome this is and how well made it is, so let's play. And we had a lot of fun, and we went through the costume and everything, and I remember coming out going, oh, okay, what happens? That was great fun. I just got to meet some really cool people. Whereas and that just makes a big difference and makes you nice and happy and positive to go for the competition after a nice positive prejudging.
As much as I like to claim all the credit, it's all the team. We all spend time having the judges around. Who's actually got the skills? Oh, that's another drama that I went into. Choosing judges based on their colors. I'm like, no, who does that? I'm like, if I get invited, even though I probably do tick a lot of boxes, I at least lie to me. Just don't, hey, Kenny, you want to judge because you have skills, rather than, hey,
best
Kenny,
Iron Man we've ever seen.
you want to judge because you're Asian? I'm like, oh, that's okay. But I got a really grumpy email from someone saying, oh, your panel of judges are white and whatever else, and had that kind of bullshit drama, which I'll discuss outside of the podcast. A sensitive kind of worms.
Well, it's there, and it's also obviously that's difficult as well in a small community as well.
But we do spend a lot of time trying to have a diversity of skills rather than diversity of other things.
Also, you're bringing. But the thing is, when you bring people in internationally, you're literally doing a small cultural exchange, because even if it's cosplay culture, it's a different. They by definition have a different outlook on what they're doing, because they live in a different country, and they're like, oh, this is how we do it over here, and it's you're getting value because you're experiencing their culture side of it.
Again, a mix of skills, like someone who's done a lot of armor work, or leather work. I guess they would be the expert on that, and other judges would recognize that because one of them might be slightly better at sewing the others. Everyone has all-round skills, because there's no point having one person that only ever does one thing, because it would be biased in that sense. So trying to do something, they might excel in one skill, but they also have other skills. Those people are hard to find, and we do spend a lot of time. And then obviously having the judges happy means everyone else is happy, because they won't be miserable judging, and that's why you got your experience happy, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that you don't see, and I guess I'm happy that you had a good experience. Some people might not have, so come.
No, we've been to well put it this way. I know we discussed this a little bit before we started recording. Like we already had tickets for your third event because of COVID, but your convention was the only convention we went to this year, because we were like, we're taking a break from cosplay, and we were like, spent so much money on LARP, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll go to CosXpo. So, is there anything, because we're over time actually? Is there anything you want to? I feel daft saying, is there anything you want to plug? But is there any other information on CosXpo you want to put out to the world?
Come to CosXpo.
Come to CosXpo. When is it? When is it? Where is it?
It is on the 1st and 2nd of April. I thought it'd be funny to put on the 1st because April Fools. No one else actually found it funny, but I did, so whatever. And
It is actually on the 1st, right?
yes, it is actually on the 1st. Or is it April Fools? It's at the University of Reading. I used to study there. It's got a huge campus with a lot of photo opportunities. That time is usually cherry blossom time, so you see a lot of cherry blossom pictures.
Yeah,
I can attest to that. It's beautiful. It is amazing around there. Yeah,
it's not
gorgeous.
just cherry blossoms, because everyone seems to have found the garden now. There's bamboo stuff lying around, bamboo bushes lying around the campus, industrial area. Just, it's not just about the pictures.
Yeah.
Do attend the workshop, because this year we have bought a whole bunch of circuit board and pre-programmed them before the event.
It's the circuits is the one that I am like, I want to go to that, because
first comes, first serve. I think we only have about 30 or 40 circuit boards to give out. Though, there's theory. Not everyone's going to hold a soldering iron, because I don't want to set the fire alarms off and be liable for that shit. So some bits might be pre-soldered, so you get the opportunity of doing it yourself. Again,
yes.
What other events buys circuit boards to give to people to learn and, program some LED strips? We do. Come to CosXpo.
Go to CosXpo. Yeah. So like I said, the gardens and all that. Even though we went to all like the 3 events you've done, it wasn't until the most recent event that we actually discovered like the gardens.
Oh my God,
and the rocks.
Gardens.
And the rocks.
But the rocks.
The rocks.
Passing everyone being like, we're looking for these landmarks. We know we need to find the rocks and the gardens. And people are like, oh yes. And they're giving us all these directions.
Did you know we have an interactive map?
No.
No, of course, no one does.
Really
does
useful.
it?
Tell everyone.
We've had
about
that for
map.
2 years running now. We have a Google Maps on the website. Check the website, people.
I swear we read everything beforehand.
Yeah, we read everything, totally. Yeah.
And it just has all the landmarks and pictures, because we went to the campus, took some pictures and put it on Google Maps with pinpoints.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you don't have anything. We don't know where anything is. You should maybe have more signs. I'm like, it's a digital age.
Yeah. To be...
And who's going to put up the signs? Me running around in the morning, I put up 50 signs already. There still aren't. God, that's another can of worms. Never pleasing everyone. First year we had 30 signs. People complained there weren't enough signs. We had another 20 bought in. I ran around the entire campus again. CosXpo isn't a huge company. We do everything ourselves, despite the misconception. Ran around the entire campus, and then 50 signs up. Oh, I still can't find my way. You need more signs here and that. You know what? F it. And then last year we just took up every signs in protest. I didn't put a single sign up in protest. And then people complained there aren't enough signs. I'm like, yeah.
Well, signs. Yeah. You can't please everyone. To be fair, like I think the first 2 years. So like,
yes.
2000 whatever. So the first year you ran, I think it was like the weather was quite grey. So I think we were like we could just kind of hung out outside. I think the second, was it like, well, there was one event where it was like windy and rainy. And
the second one.
The second one,
the second one, because that. Oh, you remember when we were like running from one building to the other, because we're like the workshop or something was in one of the other bits, and I was like, we're getting in line for that, and we're like, we're going to run to get there.
But last year it was beautiful, and everyone was out in those gardens, and it was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, it was.
And it was to the point where we were like, oh, there's workshops going on. Like, we need to get
back,
because it's like you say, it's a big campus, and then the cosplayers are all spread out everywhere, and it's amazing. But at the same time, you're like, this is actually going to take us like 5-10 minutes to get back for this workshop currently, and it keeps going as well, because you kept turning around because someone had like picked us up. We were supposed to be meeting. Oh no, Robin was gonna do like like a Critical Role cosplay meetup, and everyone was trying to like organize it, and then people were like, oh, have you seen the Critical Role cosplay group? And like, it can't be that hard to find. We didn't find them. They were like, we didn't find them at all.
Find them?
But we kept turning corners and being like, oh, wow, look at this bit. And then we'd carry on because they weren't there. And then the next bit, and you're like, oh, there's more, you know? Someone was having like wedding photos.
Oh, wait, yeah,
Someone
we
was having like a wedding photo.
wedding.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, like a bride and groom, like
wow.
literally walked into. So it's that area where like there's like tons of the cherry blossom trees.
Blossoms,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like a forest.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
And
they were having a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they just came in amongst us all, just went, oh well. Just started taking pictures.
They are dressed up too.
Yeah, well, we were like, is that cosplay or are they actually getting married? They actually got married. Oh well, you got to take the opportunity. Awesome. Anything else you wanna plug? Anything else you wanna?
No,
fantastic.
happy to chat all day.
Yeah. No, you'll have to come on again. It's been awesome. It's always a good sign when you like go over time by like 20 minutes. And like, oh crap, we've been going that we haven't. It's usually a good sign if you're heading to overtime. You're like, oh, well, we're half an hour from time. We haven't mentioned this. We haven't mentioned that. It's always a sign. It's always a sign of a good guest. So thank you very much, Kenny, for coming on.
For having me.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. We appreciate you, and we'll say goodbye to the podcast. Right, bye everyone.
Bye everyone.
Bye podcast.
You've got to wave to the camera, Kenny. Come on. There we go. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this show, make sure that you subscribe and follow so you know when the next episode is posted. If you're interested in Kenny and his cosplay work, or if you're interested in CosXpo, the information will be in the description of the episode. That is it from us today, but if you want to go check out some of our other content, you can go and do that. But until next time, we love you and stay safe.